So now, so let's continue. So we are on DQL, which is data query language. So I will use DQL to retrieve records from our database. So, and the only command we have under DQL is a select command. So, select command is used to retrieve records from the database. So, maybe you want to extract a set of records. So, you will use a select. So, and we are going to make use of select commands mostly as a data analyst or as a data scientist. So, you make use of select button. You can use select to join two or more tables, to extract records from two or more tables. Are you getting it now? So, but we are going to start with how to create a database and then how to create tables. So we have two ways of creating database and tables. So either you create a database table manually, or you use commands to create a database. So we are going to look into both techniques. So first one, creating a database manually. Now, so to do that, you will need a DBMS, database management system. So, and we have a different software for that. So you can make use of XAMPP, you can make use of WAMP, so you can use MySQL Workbench. So you can use SQL, um, Microsoft, what is it called? The SQL Server. Yes. So you can make use of SQL Server to for your DBMS. Okay. But what we want to use now is XAMPP. So we want to use XAMPP. So now uh, you can download XAMPP online. So I just download. Okay, I have it on my system. So I just installed it now. So if you don't have XAMPP, so I can give you, then install it on your system. So it's a web-based application to launch a database, localhost. So you type localhost slash php myadmin. So this is the database environment, localhost server, localhost environment. So here now you can create your database. So we have a different menu here. So we are going to use all these menus. So we will start with the first one, what databases. So we use databases to create a database. If you want to create a new database, so we click on databases, right? Then enter the name of that database. So you can have uh, maybe let's say data analytics, DB. Okay, so just click on create. So when you click on create, so it's going to display the database for you at the left hand side here. Okay, so you can create it manually, or you use command to create it. So if you want to create it with command, so you just have create database, then the name of the database. Okay, so to create with query with SQL now, so you just click on SQL. Okay, okay, but before that, what we have, the menu we have as when you launch your localhost, the first menu that you are going to have is databases, SQL, status, user account, export, import. So you have this. So all this will show when you are on localhost. Are you getting it? But if you you click a particular database, the menu will change. Can you see that? So when you click on this database, what we have here is structure, not databases again. Okay, structure, SQL, search, query. Okay, so there's nothing like search when we are local host environment. When you click on this server, local server, and you click on this, so what you have is database, SQL, and what status, and user account, and so on like that. But if you click on the database, on a particular database, so the menu will change. So you have structure, SQL, search, query, and so on. Now, so we want to create another database using command, using SQL command. So just click on this SQL. So it will show this SQL environment where you are going to write your command. So you now have create space, okay, database, okay, then the name of the database or data, let's say data science DB, okay. So click on go button. So when you go back to the server, click on this. So we have data analytics and data science DB. We have these two database under data because we the prefix of our database is what data. So that is why we have both under data name. If we change this one now, so if you change this one from data science DB to another thing, so it's going to separate the two databases. So now to change it, you click on operation and rename database. Rename to maybe let's say Porter DB. You want to rename it to Porter DB. So when you click on go, okay, yes. So can you see? So this is Porter DB, and this is what data underscore analytics DB. So we have created our database. So when you have a database, so the next thing is to create a table inside your database, because you cannot insert records into the database. So you must have a list of tables. You must have a table in your database, so because the table will hold your records. So to create a table, so you can create your table manually or you use a query to create it. So let's create a table manually. So if you want to create a table, you have to click a particular database that you want to use to create your table. So when you click on this database, click on create new. Okay, it's already. So we enter the table name. Okay, so table name, maybe let's say user records. Okay, so you specify the number of columns you want to use. So we can say 6. So we now click on create. Okay, so it will show 6 space for you to enter your feed. We have database, we have tables, we have feed. So then we have records. So 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 this is where you are going to create your table. So you enter the feed that you need in that table. So let's start with ID. So we have ID. So then surname, other name, gender, age, then maybe class, you say user type. Okay, so when you have this, so this is the feed name. Okay, when you have a table, at the top of the table we have what you call header. So then you now have record the so like now each column we have values header. Can you get me? The first one, so ID, is going to have its values. Then surname, other name, gender, and so on like that. So for this ID, uh, it is a primary key because in database we have what we call primary key and foreign key. Okay, so I'm going to explain that maybe by next class I will explain relationship in database. So we have one to one, one to many, many to many, and many to one. So that is where primary key and foreign key will be useful. Okay, so you need ID. So ID is the unique value that we identify individual records in your table. Okay, now, and the next thing is to specify the type of your feed. That is a feed type, or you say data type. So under the type, we have a different data type. We have integer, varchar, text, dates. So for numeric, we have tiny int, small int, medium int, big int. Now you can just use integer, only integer for ID. Okay, then surname, so you can set it to be text or varchar. So but we use a varchar. So this varchar is we use it to specify the number of characters. Okay, if your value will be text, you will use varchar, but varchar is used to specify the length. Are you getting me? So if you use varchar, so you have to specify the length that you want to insert, the maximum length for your feed. Are you getting me? So surname now, so if you specify 50 for surname, so it means you cannot enter any character that is more than 50 for surname. So that is purpose of using varchar. But if you use text, so you can enter any characters, as many as possible. So you can enter 100, 50, more than 50. So but it is better to use varchar to manage our memory, to manage the space, because if you use text, so and you use it for use this database for a particular application, so that application will be is going to consume a lot of memory. So because you didn't specify the space for each for individual feed in your table. So but if it is varchar now, so you have to specify the 50. So that means you have allocated as 50 space, okay, 50 characters for surname. So then other name, so varchar, so let's say 50. Gender, varchar, maybe 10. Okay, so age will be integer. Okay, yeah.
Since we have two genders,
What?
like we only have two genders.
Male and female.
Is there any other type that we can use that will just specify this male and female to materially just blast two?
Yes. If you want to do that, you use divine as divine. So when you use as divine, then you now enter male.
Okay, you're writing it under order.
Male. What?
I said you're writing it under the order name, not the
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
male.
Under name. Okay. Okay. So gender.
Okay, it is still going to be Baka.
Yes. Okay. This one is going to be Faka. Then you now specify as divine. Okay. So, but this one, you know, uh, it is in Nigeria that that only gender we have is male and female. So in other country, they have other gender. You understand? So if now I use maybe 6 as the maximum value for gender. So if other gender want to enter the value, so it may not be able to do that. So we are but if you are building an application for Nigeria, so you know that okay, the only gender we recognize is male and female. So there's no problem about that. You can just set your data type, the value to be what? To be 6. Okay. So but we can leave it as 10. Although in that application, so you have a selection to select to male or female, not that the user will enter the value himself. So you use a selection box like this for user to select the value, the gender value, male or female. Okay. So age, you leave it as integer.
What about if we choose test instead of that voucher that we choose test? So the test, they only need to specify value for test.
If yes, if we use text here, so we don't need to specify the value. So we just leave it like that. So for example, okay, let's use Falca for this. If it is other name, so text. But if you use Falca and you really specify the value, so it won't go. It won't allow you to create the table. But if it is text, you are free and you may not specify the value. Okay. So user type. Okay.
You have deleted the value
Okay.
for the
Okay.
For the other name,
User type.
you
Which one?
deleted the from other name. You deleted the
value.
Okay, we should use text.
no. You removed the. It was 15 training. 15
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now, user type. Okay, Falca. Let's use 20.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so now this one, after you have done with the data type, so this ID is going to be auto-generated. So you don't need to enter the value of ID. So since it is the primary key, so it will auto-generated itself. But if I want it to be auto-generated, so you have to tick this one, AI, auto-increment. Okay, so you tick it, it is primary. Okay, so another thing that you need to understand there is if okay, now if it is primary, you can set all others to null. So if they are null, so it means it's going to accept empty values. Okay, so it will accept empty values. So if they are null, but you cannot set primary key to be null. So there must be a value in what? In ID, because it is going to be the primary key that will identify individual row. So you cannot set it to be null. So because it's going to be auto-generated. Are you getting that? So Others, you can set them to be null. Okay.
You
Now,
can set even the names to be null.
Yes.
what
The names.
name you can set to be null, but it is better you to set it to be none. Okay. So, because if you set all to be null, you may have a lot of missing values because it will allow missing values. Are you getting it? So you
Yes,
can
can
leave.
you explain what the primary key is?
Okay. Primary key is used to identify a row. So you will use a primary key when we reach data query language, which is select or delete for data manipulation. So we use it to identify a particular row. Like now, if I want to select a particular row in your table, so you must have something to identify that row. That is what? That is primary key. Like
And
now,
why
matric number. If you have a lot of students in the school, so they will have a unique ID that we use to identify them. So that is what we call what? Primary key. Are you getting it? So that matric number, another person cannot have that matric number. So it is something that is identifying that student. So, and in a row, we have a set of rows in our table. Okay, we can have 20 rows, 30 rows. So if I want to communicate with a particular row, there must be a unique value that we use to identify that row, which is what? Primary key. Exactly. So, but if you now use that primary key in another table, okay, so it will become a foreign key. Okay, so this ID, so if you want to use it in another table, so you call it user ID. It is called ID here in the user table. So maybe you have another table called product table, and you need user record in that product. So you want to join them together. So you must have a feed that is going to be common in both tables. So you have ID here, then that ID you repeat it in another table, but it's going to be a foreign key there. So it's going to be primary key in this first table and foreign key in another table. So after this one, save it. Click on save. Yeah. So can we see that? So we have created a table. So we have created a table. So if you click on, if you want to fill the records, you click on browse. So but we don't have any records in that table. Can you see? So it's showing empty. So but if you click on structure, so structure will show all the feeds that you just created in the table. ID, surname, other name, gender, and it will show their type. Okay. So the default value for integer is 11, although you can still increase the value. So if you don't specify value for integer, so the default one will be 11. So now, so that is how to create a table manually. Okay, so you can create a table using a SQL command. Okay, so you can do that if you check this. So see this one. So I'm going to share all these notes with you in your group. So I will send those notes so that you can look into it and read it further. Now, this is create. So use create a table. So you have create. I told you that we use create to create database and what and table. So and we have used create to create a database. Then you can also use create to create a table. So you have create, then you specify. So if it is database, you specify the database. So if it is table, you specify the table, then the name of the table. For database, what you just need to do is to create the database, the name of the database. That is for database. For table, so you have create table, the table name. Then you now list all the fields that you want to use in your table. That is why we have customer ID, then integer, that is our type. So we have identity, so that is one to one, the primary key. So customer number, last name, first name, area code, address, country. Okay, so default. Okay, now let's create a table with SQL command. Okay, so remove all this. Okay, then you have create
We're not going to click on
what?
when we wanted to create one and we have to click on the database.
Okay, yes, so that now you need to click on the database. Okay, because if you want to create a table inside the portal, click on the portal. So then you click SQL. So we want to create a table inside the portal DB. So now have select, create. Okay, table, the table name, user TB. Okay,
You can't have the same name for you can't have user record in another database.
we can have it, user records. So but we cannot have the same table name in one database. So user records. Okay, so then you can now specify the feed. So ID. Okay, type int. Okay, 11. Okay, so primary. Okay, so comma, surname, Farker, into bracket 50. Okay, so other name, Farker. So this is the basic one. So although you may add some other features, um, the other classes of maybe description. Okay, so you can add more, but the basic one is this. So we specify the type, factor 50, comma, okay, other name, then gender. Okay, factor. So then comma, age, int, into brackets 11. So user type, factor, into brackets 20. Okay, so this is the query. So click on go. We have some errors. Okay, so errors in gender. Okay, near Sunny. Can be this, primary. When we say not A comma or closing bracket was expected. Okay, let's check this. Okay, customer ID is okay, primary key. So it should be primary key. Okay, this one, no, this one is just for the data type. So we didn't specify as identity. So if you want to use identity, that's 1,1. So it is done. So this is create table. Okay, user record. Okay, so into bracket ID integer 11 primary key comma surname. Okay, factor 50. So this is another table. Let me see. So using query, using a SQL query. So what we did today now is creation of database manually and using SQL command, creation of a table manually and what using query. So next class, so we continue with the commands for DDL. Okay, so what we use today is only a create command. So create command for tables and database. Then we pick drop next class, alter, truncate. Okay, then we now move to DML. Okay, so what we are going to focus is DML. So what concerns us is DML, data manipulation. Okay, because what we want to do is to use SQL for data cleaning. Okay, so you may not need all other commands because we normally work with existing database. So what we are going to use most is DML and DQL, which is insert, update, delete, and select. So all others, we may not need them, but we can just, for learning sheet, to show how they work. So we stop here for today. Already 6 p.m. So, okay, we're supposed to meet tomorrow, Friday. Okay, Friday, yes. I will send it to the group. So we meet on Friday. So,